Hello everybody and welcome to my first track tutorial. Since I got 50 subscribers, wow, that's a lot of subscribers, for me at least. But since I got 50 subscribers now, I decided I will try and make one of these tutorial videos for the Skip Barber. And I'm using next week's track in the 2020 for 2020 season 3. Which is a VIR North layout. I also have a video of a hot lap in this circuit you can check. But this one it will be trying to show more or less braking markers, which gear to use, so on and so forth. So let's just go ahead and bear with me here. I can't believe I started so bad. I'm back in the lap. The first part, first corner, the braking point that I use is just before the number 2 marker. And it's going down to second gear. You see there's a long distance. So you don't have to go all the way down to second gear at once. Just go up to second gear and then turn in. Go down to second gear and then turn in. And then take the apex, which is approximately, it's a little bit before the end of this gray curb on the right side. See, I'm already on the apex here. And if you go on the grass here, you will get a 1x. So try not to do that. Then just full throttle out of this corner, careful not to run wide. And just try to keep as tight as line as possible here, since this is a long corner after the initial apex. And I'll just try to go a little bit faster. And then we go up to turn 2 and 3. Turn 2 is full throttle. And then comes turn 3. And in this turn, it's very hard to see the markers. I try to use these marks on the ground to know more or less where I am on track. Just some slight braking and then try to use as much curb as possible and then accelerate as much as possible, also using the exit curb. And then you go down to third in that corner. Then it's next up is a slow corner, which also has a very difficult braking marker. I try to judge my braking by using either the distance to the corner or this very hard to see fence on the right side. But mostly I try to take a look. I use all this gazebo and the black wall and the corner to judge where do I have to hit the brakes, and that makes it kind of difficult. You can see only half braking, 60% braking, and then going to the corner, use throttle as usual to modulate how much the car will slide wide. And I try not to go too wide because then I want to open up this corner so that I can go full throttle pretty much from here up to the end of the next straight, which is all the way back there. We'll just accelerate the video a little bit, then use as much curb here as you can, always full throttle. And then we come onto one of the hardest corners of this track, and my braking point, I use this sand bit on the left side to judge when I am going to brake. Then hard braking, but do not take off all the speed as you're gonna go uphill and you will get some grip. And then down to second gear, and then I try not to go on the curb because it makes the car bounce and I think it makes you lose speed on exit. And then I use all the runoff area on the exit. And then you can use all this curb, no problem. You can use this curb as well. And then just a slight lift here will help you keep the car onto the left side for the next corner, which is very fast. Just a little lift, there it is. And then I tried to use some curb, but I couldn't manage. The car is understeering here. But I just try not to go too far to the right because I also want to take the next two right-handers in full throttle. And all of this is in fourth gear. just keeping the car as far to the right as possible. Could have done a better job here actually. You could have a little bit, you be a little bit closer to the right, and then you will gain like a tenth, something like that. Next up, another very hard corner. Braking for me, it's just after this left gray curb on the left side, and then down to second gear, and then fighting the understeer from the downhill, just to keep the corner, to keep the car as much to the right as possible. You can actually go on top of this curb without problems, without upsetting the car. I didn't manage in this lap. And then full throttle after you hit the apex should be enough to not make you run wide in this downhill. And then just it will be full throttle up until the last two corners of the track, which are extremely important. The first one is this left-hander, and the goal here, it's always in fourth gear, is to go on up to the curb and stay as much to the left so that you can open up the last and most important corner on the track, which we take just by lifting a little bit, going on top of the curb, and then just as soon as you're sure that you're not gonna run wide, then you just full throttle it. You can see that I also don't want to be on the left side of the track, which is normally dirty, and try to keep as much to the inside as possible, but while keeping full throttle. And that is the whole lap, and then we just start all over again. So hopefully this will have helped you, and if it has, you can either subscribe or not, or doesn't really make much of a difference at the moment. But if you would like to subscribe, that would be nice. Leave a like if you would like as well, or a dislike if you can't hear me. And I'll see you next time. Bye.